Mysterious lights that defy explanation, a $500 million art heist that stumped the FBI, and a historic trail that's become a murderer's playground. Tonight, we're peeling back the layers of Boston's darkest tales. But be warned, one of these stories is terrifyingly true. Can you spot the real horror among the hoaxes? Stay with us until the final reveal to discover which tale is rooted in chilling reality. If you're as captivated by the mysterious and the macabre as we are, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a chance to test your intuition against the inexplicable. Now, let's begin. Story 1, Lights in the Charles. In the late summer of 1897, Boston was abuzz with talk of strange happenings over the Charles River. For several nights, mysterious lights had been seen hovering above the water, casting an eerie glow that could be seen from both the Boston and Cambridge sides of the river. The phenomena were unlike anything the city had ever witnessed, and theories abounded. Some speculated that they were the lanterns of lost sailors, while others whispered about will-o'-the-wisps or even extraterrestrial activity. The first account came from a night watchman patrolling the Longfellow Bridge. He reported seeing a series of lights, too bright to be fireflies and too organized to be a mere reflection, dancing over the water. The watchman, a pragmatic man not given to flights of fancy, was so disturbed by the sight that he alerted the local authorities. The Boston police, skeptical but intrigued, launched an investigation. They enlisted the help of local scientists and even consulted with professors from Harvard and MIT. Nightly vigils were held, with officers and volunteers stationed at various points along the river. Despite their efforts, the lights continued to appear, always just out of reach, defying all attempts at explanation. As word spread, crowds began to gather along the banks of the Charles River each night, hoping to catch a glimpse of the enigmatic lights. Newspapers ran front-page stories, and the phenomena became the subject of heated debate in Boston's cafes and parlors. Even the city's intellectual elite weighed in, with theories ranging from atmospheric anomalies to secret military experiments. Then, on the night of September 29th, something extraordinary happened. The lights appeared as usual, but this time they seemed to coalesce into a singular radiant entity. It hovered for a moment before shooting up into the sky at an incredible speed, disappearing into the night. Those who witnessed it were left in awe, their skepticism shattered. The event of September 29th marked the last sighting of the mysterious lights. The police closed their investigation, unable to provide any concrete answers. Scientists were equally baffled. None of the theories put forth could adequately explain what had been observed. The mysterious lights of the Charles River became a part of Boston folklore, a tale told to both skeptics and believers alike. To this day, the events of that fateful summer remain unexplained, a chapter in the city's history that defies rational understanding. While some continue to seek a scientific explanation, others are content to wonder, embracing the possibility that the lights were a glimpse of something beyond our earthly realm. And so the Charles River continues to flow, its waters as inscrutable as ever, leaving the people of Boston to ponder the mysteries it may still hold. Story 2, The Heist. In the heart of Boston, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum stands as a testament to one woman's lifelong passion for art. Isabella Stewart Gardner, a wealthy art patron, had this museum built to house her eclectic collection, which includes pieces from antiquity to the Renaissance. The museum itself is designed like a 15th-century Venetian palace, providing an opulent backdrop for the treasures it holds. But this sanctuary for art and beauty became the stage for one of the most audacious and puzzling art heists in history. On the night of March 18, 1990, two men dressed as Boston police officers arrived at the museum's side entrance, ringing the buzzer and claiming they were responding to a disturbance. The guards on duty, breaking protocol, allowed them entry. Once inside, the fake officers quickly revealed their true intent, overpowering and handcuffing the guards and taking them to the basement, where they were bound and gagged. Having incapacitated the security, the thieves set about their work with brutal efficiency but strange selectivity. They didn't just grab the most valuable pieces. They seemed to pick based on some inscrutable criteria of their own. Among the stolen pieces were Vermeer's The Concert, Rembrandt's Storm on the Sea of Galilee, and several sketches by Degas. In total, 13 works valued at around $500 million vanished that night. They left behind empty frames as mute witnesses to the void they had created. Despite immediate efforts by law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, the case went cold. Theories abounded. Organized crime, a private collector who had commissioned the theft, or perhaps even international terrorists. But there were no definitive leads. The FBI managed to identify some suspects involved with organized crime, but couldn't retrieve the art or make any arrests directly related to the heist. The empty frames in the museum still hang as placeholders, symbolic of the missing art and a reminder of the still unsolved mystery. Even today, the case remains open and active, and the museum offers a staggering $10 million reward for information leading to the artwork's recovery. Various sightings and tips have come in over the years, suggesting that some pieces might be hidden in Ireland or other parts of Europe, but none have led to the artworks. The statute of limitations on the theft has long since expired, meaning the criminals could theoretically come forward without facing prosecution for the heist, but the art remains missing. This tale of lost art and unsolved mystery continues to captivate the public and baffle investigators. It raises unsettling questions about the security of cultural heritage sites and the black market for art. Every now and then, the FBI announces new developments or renewed efforts to solve the case, but the paintings and sketches stolen that fateful night remain at large, their whereabouts as elusive as the motives of the men who took them. And so, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum stands incomplete, a beautiful but broken monument to human creativity and the puzzling forces that sometimes conspire to destroy or conceal it. Story 3: Freedom's Mystery. Boston's Freedom Trail is a 2.5-mile-long path that passes by 16 historically significant sites, from the Massachusetts State House to the Paul Revere House. While it's a journey through the city's rich history, for some, it's a journey that has no return. Over the years, several people have mysteriously disappeared while walking the trail, each leaving behind a cryptic note with a historical twist. What was once a path of enlightenment has turned into a path of darkness and despair. A string of murders has plagued the trail, each accompanied by a note that ties the victim to Boston's storied past. The first case was that of Robert Boyd, a history teacher from Vermont. He was last seen near the Paul Revere statue at sunset. A smattering of his blood was later found on the statue itself. A note was found tucked into the pages of a guidebook he left on a bench. It read, "Listen, my children, and you shall hear." Days later, his body was found near the Old North Church, the very place where lanterns were hung to signal Paul Revere. Authorities were baffled at how his body was transported there without anyone noticing. 8 years later, Emily Davis, a college student studying American history, vanished. She was walking the trail with friends but had lagged behind to take some notes. Her friends assumed she would catch up, but she never did. A note was found in her handwriting in her abandoned notebook. It said, "History repeats itself." Her body was later discovered near the site of the Boston Massacre. Due to heavy fog that night, police were unable to identify who had left her body there. The next morning, Boston locals woke to the horrifying sight of her body in the heart of the city. John Harris, a retired police officer, was well known in the community. He had walked the Freedom Trail countless times. In 2007, he didn't return from his usual walk. His wife reported him missing, and a search began. A note was found in his car, parked near the trail's start. It read, "Justice is an illusion." His body was found near the old State House, where the Declaration of Independence was first read to the people of Boston. Again, authorities were puzzled at how his body had been transported there without anyone noticing. The most recent case involved Sarah Tilden, a tourist from the UK. She was last seen near the Old North Church taking photos. Her family reported her missing when she didn't return to their hotel. A note was found in her purse which read, "To if by sea." Her deceased body was later discovered floating in the harbor, a grim nod to Paul Revere's famous signal. As the cases pile up, speculation about the killer's motives runs rampant. Some believe the murderer is a Boston Strangler copycat, trying to outdo the infamous serial killer in both cunning and notoriety. The notes left behind seem to taunt both the victims and the city itself, linking the present-day horrors to the city's historical events. Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the Freedom Trail killer remains at large, turning one of Boston's most cherished landmarks into a path of nightmares. Your instincts were put to the test, and now it's time to unveil the unsettling truth behind one of these Boston stories. The tale that is not just a product of dark imagination but a baffling real-life event is the infamous heist at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. The Gardner Museum heist is not a figment of fiction but a gaping wound in the world of art and law enforcement that remains unhealed. On that fateful night of March 18, 1990, two men posing as police officers conned their way into the museum. Once inside, they swiftly subdued the guards, leaving them helpless in the basement. The audacity and planning involved were staggering, and so was the loot. 13 works of art with an estimated value of $500 million were stolen, including masterpieces by Vermeer, Rembrandt, and Degas. Despite numerous efforts by the FBI and other law enforcement agencies, and a $10 million reward, the heist remains unsolved. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the unknown. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that like button and share it with fellow mystery seekers. And remember, in every trio of tales at 2 tricks, 1 treat. 2 will deceive, but 1 always speaks the truth. Until next time, keep questioning, keep wondering, and always stay curious.